Your family could lose everything because of this one estate planning mistake. Imagine spending your entire life building something for the people you love. You worked overtime. You paid your mortgage month after month. You sacrificed vacations, delayed retirement, and carefully saved every dollar you could. Eventually, you achieved what millions of Americans dream of. You owned your home. Maybe you built an investment portfolio. Maybe you finally had enough savings to feel secure. And deep down, you believe that one day, everything you worked so hard for would naturally pass on to your family. But what if that's not what happens? Imagine that tomorrow, you're suddenly gone. Your children assume they'll inherit the house without any problems. Your spouse believes they can simply take over your accounts. Your family thinks all it takes is a few signatures and some paperwork. Instead, they're told they can't access your bank accounts. They can't sell your home. They can't legally manage your assets. Everything is frozen, not because anyone did anything wrong, but because the law has its own process. And while your family is grieving one of the hardest moments of their lives, they're suddenly forced into a legal system they never expected to face. This isn't a rare situation. It happens to families across America every single day. The most shocking part? Most people never see it coming. They assume having a will is enough. Some don't have any estate plan at all because they believe, I'm not wealthy enough to need one. That may be one of the most expensive assumptions a family can make. Today, we're going to talk about 5 powerful reasons why having a living trust could become one of the most important financial and legal decisions you ever make. And no, you don't have to be a millionaire. You don't need a mansion. You don't need millions in investments. If you own a home, if you have children, if you've spent years building a life for your family, this conversation is about you. Stay with me until the very end, because the 5th reason has nothing to do with death, and it's the one that surprises almost everyone. Let's begin with the biggest misconception people have. Most Americans believe that when someone passes away, their property automatically transfers to their loved ones. It sounds logical. After all, if you own the house, shouldn't your family simply inherit it? Unfortunately, that's not always how the law works. In many situations, your estate must first go through a legal court process known as probate. Now, probate isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's a legal procedure designed to ensure that debts are addressed, valid heirs are identified, and assets are distributed according to the law or your estate plan. But here's the reality. Probate can take months, sometimes much longer. During that time, your loved ones may face delays accessing certain assets, additional legal expenses, and a significant amount of paperwork precisely when they're already dealing with the emotional impact of losing someone they love. Picture a retired couple. They spent 40 years paying off their mortgage. Every monthly payment represented another step toward financial security. Finally, they owned their home free and clear. Then, unexpectedly, one spouse passes away. Their children assume everything will be simple. Instead, they discover that the estate must go through a legal process before certain assets can be transferred. Questions arise. Documents must be filed. Deadlines must be met. Legal procedures begin, and suddenly, what should have been a time for healing becomes a time filled with stress, uncertainty, and difficult decisions. Many families find themselves asking the same heartbreaking question: why didn't we know this sooner? This is one of the primary reasons many people choose to establish a living trust. A properly funded living trust can often allow certain assets to pass outside of probate, helping reduce delays and making the transfer process more efficient for loved ones. Whether that benefit applies depends on individual circumstances and state law, but for many families, it becomes an important part of a thoughtful estate plan. But time isn't the only thing at stake. Money is. 2. Every legal proceeding comes with costs: court filing fees, administrative expenses, professional services, attorneys' fees when legal guidance is needed. The longer a process continues, the greater the financial and emotional burden can become. Now ask yourself one simple question: who did you spend your entire life working for? Was it the legal process? Or was it your family? Every paycheck, every mortgage payment, every dollar you carefully invested, every sacrifice you made, it was all meant to create security for the people you love. That's why estate planning isn't really about documents. It's about protecting the life you've already spent decades building. But surprisingly, money isn't what tears families apart. The real damage often begins after the funeral. Emotions are high, people are grieving. Everyone believes they know what mom or dad would have wanted. One sibling wants to keep the house. another wants to sell it. Someone believes they were promised more. Someone else feels they've been treated unfairly. Old family disagreements suddenly come back to life, and before long, brothers stop speaking to brothers. Sisters stop speaking to sisters. Relationships that took a lifetime to build can fall apart in just a few months. The heartbreaking truth is that many of these conflicts aren't caused by greed, they're caused by uncertainty. When wishes aren't clearly organized ahead of time, people are left trying to interpret what someone would have wanted. And that uncertainty can divide even the closest families.